Everybody, I'm here at my camp at the end of foraging season. It's very pleasant here. It's kind of my little rest and recovery after so much work. A lot of people have been asking me lately, how did I end up becoming a professional mushroom forager? Because that is a really fun job. And let me tell you, this year was the happiest year of my life because this has become my full-time job. But the way that it happened was actually that many years ago, I had a very, very powerful experience on ayahuasca. I was very close to ending my own life, and I was in a very, very dark place that I had been in for many, many years. There were issues about life that I wasn't willing to face. And when I did this ceremony, it was so powerful and it was so impactful that it changed me completely as a person. And since that day, I dedicated my entire life to understanding spirituality and trying to know what the purpose of life is and what the meaning of life is. And this led me down a path to discover faith. Faith is something that is very basic as a human need. And once I discovered this, I began living by my faith. I began doing everything by my faith. It wasn't just my way of thinking about things. It was my way of doing and being. And eventually I realized that faith is much more powerful than we had previously believed. You see, faith is actually a tool. Because just the same as you can focus on something, and the way that you focus on it helps you to get it, faith is a building block. It is the first thing that you need to have in place in order to have the life that you want. Because if you believe that life is not good, if you believe that life is something to be afraid of or something to hate, then how could you ever have a happy life? If you have bad beliefs about life itself. So to dive deep into those issues and to resolve them is what everyone should strive for. I did this for myself, and upon doing it after many, many years of pushing myself to the limit, using lots of psychedelics, and eventually finding that faith was much, much more powerful than I had originally believed. And it has led me to take risks that would be absolutely insane to most people. When I began my life as a mushroom forager, I was first living in Brazil. I had lived in Brazil for about 7 years and did many psychedelics there. I did a lot of spiritual practice, many dietas with maestros, and different medicines that I was using. I had a very, very deep spiritual training there with indigenous people training me. And at a certain point, I realized that my path would have to continue somewhere else because I wasn't learning enough anymore. And it just occurred to me that since Amanita muscaria was my primary medicine as a shaman, that should certainly be what I try to bring to the world. I had discovered Amanita accidentally. It's a long story, but essentially it was an unintentional discovery, and my discovery of it was miraculous to me. It healed me of multiple physical illnesses. And it also completely took away my insomnia. And later, over the course of several years, it healed me of traumas. And I'm saying, like, I just took it and I was healed. I didn't have to, like, go to therapy. When I realized that it was my purpose to bring Amanita to the world, I entered into a very, very risky venture to come back to the United States after not living here for 10 years with debt. No real support from anybody. And doing this kind of just following my faith. And in doing so, I went on this insane adventure, which was a combination of following my spiritual practices and trying to bridge the gaps between this world and what I'm understanding on psychedelics. And applying this across time was crazy, it was terrifying, it was beautiful, it was a giant adventure. And no matter what the obstacle was that I faced, I persistently used my faith to carry me through the situation. And I'm telling you, there were a lot of situations. A lot. So I moved back to the US. I partnered with another person. And together we managed to get a vehicle. But we didn't have any other money, so we lived in it. So for the first year, I was living in a car with another person, which, guys, is hard to do no matter who it is. And I did this while at the same time figuring out how to complete the foraging and still manage my own life and manage my own personal spiritual practices, which are deeply involved with my emotions and my life and my psychology, which is also difficult to manage. So having to manage all of these things at once and knowing that I had taken a very risky gamble with my life doing this, that there was no going back. I had to make this work. That knowledge, the understanding that I had to make it work, was what pushed me to make it work. Because quitting was just not an option. There was nothing else for me to do with my life. I couldn't go back to Brazil because it was just boring now. I had been there for too long and I had done everything and done every ceremony, to hundreds of ayahuasca ceremonies. I was tired of it. There was nothing new or challenging. But taking on the new challenge was overwhelming at the beginning. The challenges that I faced were quite vast. They were things from the level of the relationship with this person, issues with my vehicle, issues with foraging, legal problems, dodging police, having to find places to sleep because I live in a car, I have to park it somewhere. The number of issues is very big and very difficult to get used to, especially for someone with a traumatic past. And every time, my faith carried me. What this essentially means is that when I would get into a situation where I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, I would just insert my faith there, which means that anything that I don't know, I do know that it is ordered at a level that is greater, that I don't understand. Okay? So every time I would encounter a scary or uncertain situation, I would just remember, oh wait, God is actually organizing everything. I don't have to worry about this. And in doing so, I was able to overcome one situation after the next, and oh my God, did they get bad. I will have to post a longer video at some other point explaining the whole story. But people, I went through I basically went through homelessness. I went through betrayal. My business was destroyed at one point. At one point I went bankrupt. At one point I had a felony warrant and I had to dodge police for several months. At one point I had to get myself to Brazil and I had no money, and that was another. I had to get rid of the warrant. That was another crazy story. In the end, I made it through because I believe so strongly in my life purpose, which was given to me the first time that I took ayahuasca. It was shown to me in that vision. And it is due to my faith that this life is now becoming real. and that I'm finally getting to enjoy the benefits of it, like this. I've been here for 4 days. I'm quite happy. I will just mention here at the end, guys, that I had a life where I never experienced peace. And to truly have it now, it is to know the truth. I hope that all of you can appreciate that you yourself are the one who creates faith. You yourself are the person who is your own creator. And it is up to you, the kind of being that you want to be. Sending much love and a Merry Christmas.